Good evening and welcome to this June 17th public hearing. I'm opening this public hearing on a proposed ordinance to vacate East 8th Alley located between High Street and High Alley. Those wishing to speak during this public hearing should have already submitted a completed request to speak form at the information desk. Do any counselors need to disclose any bias, conflicts of interest, ex parte communications, or abstentions pursuant to EC 9.70653? Yes, Councilor Pryor.
Yes, I have had a conversation with Geneva Ralph about future plans for the shed, and part of those plans was to talk a little bit about plans for the backside of the building, but it did not influence my ability to be impartial in any way.
Okay, great. Any other Councilor Syrett?
Yeah, so I had a similar conversation about the plans and needs for the shed and what they envisioned for the future. And like Councilor Pryor, it did not influence my ability to be impartial.
All right, anybody else? Councilor Evans.
I did as well, and I don't think I have to repeat everything that's just been said before me.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Clark.
Yeah, I have to say that I never did return the email and get a chance to sit down with them, but I wanted to, and I like them very much, but that doesn't influence my ability to make an impartial decision.
All right, you're the only one who's left. No, nothing to disclose. Okay. Okay. Before we proceed, I want to state that anyone testifying has the right to address and rebut the substance of the ex parte communications just disclosed. Have staff received any challenges to a counselor's impartiality submitted pursuant to Eugene Code Section 9.70655? No. Okay, great. Okay, City Manager, would you please introduce the topic?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's public hearing concerns a request to vacate an improved public right-of-way consisting of a portion of East 8th Alley located between High Street and High Alley. The applicant is James Ralph, who is associated with the John G. Shedd Institute for the Arts and owns both properties abutting this section of the alley. The only testimony received to date is in favor of the proposed alley vacation. Testimony received since the AIS was published has been provided to council tonight, and the council is scheduled to take action on the request on July 8.
Great. Thank you. Testimony presented at this public hearing should be directed toward the applicable approval criteria or other criteria that the speaker believes apply to the decision. The applicable approval criteria for this proposed vacation of improved public right-of-way are from Eugene Code Section 9.8725, which states that the city shall approve or approve with conditions and reservations of easements the vacation of improved public right-of-way, public ways acquired with public funds, or undeveloped subdivision and partition plats, or portions thereof, including public right-of-way and improved public easements located therein, only if the council finds that approval of the vacation is in the public interest. The failure of anyone to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the city council and parties an opportunity to respond will preclude appeal on that issue. The request to speak forms have been separated into 3 groups, probably just one group, sounds like. And speakers will be called in the following order: those in support of the proposed vacation, those with a neutral position, and those opposed to the proposed vacation. Please give your name and address when you come to the podium to speak. You will have 3 minutes to comment. The timer and lights on the podium indicate the time you have to speak. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of 3 minutes. I will now open the public hearing with those in support. And so we have 4 speakers all in support. So we begin with Geneva Ralph, followed by Colin McArthur.
Thank you, Mary Venice, councilors, city manager. Thank you very much. I'm Geneva Ralph, live on University Street and in Councilor Zelenka's ward, but I'm speaking tonight as a member of the board and representing the board from the Shedd Institute. And I do hope we get some brownie points for the least controversial proposal you're going to hear all year, I hope. One of the reasons I asked councilors to come over and just take a quick visit at the shed is to see that there are 2 blind corners of the building. At both of those corners, there have been multiple either close calls or bad accidents. And so we're thinking and asking of you to vacate that alley so that we can close it off, put bollards at the west end so that there can be some access, if we so choose, to get into the parking lot there, but to make it so that it's much less dangerous for patrons, students, anybody coming in and out of that parking lot. So the entrances and exits would be onto streets a little further away from that building. The second is, this gives us the opportunity to put an external elevator on that side of the building. Right now, anybody using a wheelchair or walker or has any mobility issues has to be let off at the Broadway side. Literally let off, the driver then has to go park the car and come back and get that person unless they're able to get into the building by themselves. So this would dramatically increase the accessibility for all of our patrons, students with tubas, that sort of clientele base, if you will. Right now, the reason the safety thing is so important is that people use that alley as a thoroughfare and a speedway getting onto High Street. They'll either duck in that alley and into our parking lot to skip the red light at 8th and High, or they will come off the freeway thinking they can get into, or off Ferry Street Bridge there, getting into Whole Foods, find out that that's blocked, and then they duck into our parking lot and do a U-turn to get in across the street. So it's not even the normal exit and entrances, but that's our proposal and request. Thank you very much for the consideration.
Thank you. Next is Colin McArthur, followed by Lynn Barry.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors. I'm Colin McArthur, Principal Planner with Cameron McCarthy, Landscape Architecture and Planning. My address is 160 East Broadway, and I am the applicant's representative. I'll begin by addressing the procedural requirements. ORS 271080 requires control of all abutting property. The applicant does own all abutting property next to the vacation, and it requires consent from 2/3 of the property owner within the affected area. The applicant has obtained consent from 84% of the property owners in the effective area, so they've more than satisfied that threshold. The valuation for the area was set by the city at approximately $85,000, which is documented in the assessment of special benefit by the city. The applicant has paid a deposit of the full amount of the valuation as of June 10th, 2019. There is one criteria of approval for the vacation, and that is the city council shall approve the vacation if it is in the public interest. As discussed in the applicant's statement and findings, the vacation is in the public interest because it enables the applicant to improve pedestrian safety and accessibility, to improve service access to the venue itself, and to consolidate property in order to enable future construction of a future building. Pedestrian safety is improved by eliminating a blind corner at the intersection of East 8th Alley and High Street, and reconfiguring the parking lot and site circulation patterns to accommodate pedestrians safely. Accessibility is improved by raising the sidewalk grade near the entrance to eliminate a non-ADA compliant step into the building. And accessibility and service access will be improved by a new external service elevator. Finally, the vacation consolidates property to enable the construction of a future building, an annex, within the vacated alley and existing surface parking lot owned by the shed to the north. This portion of East 8th Alley is not currently or in the future needed for any public services, facilities, or utilities. The proposed vacation will enable much needed pedestrian safety and accessibility improvements. And the vacation enables the future best use of the remainder of the property by the applicant under the same ownership. Therefore, the findings demonstrate that the approval of the vacation is in the public interest. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Lynn Barry, followed by Jonathan Brandt.
Hello, I'm Lynn Barry, and I live at 1157 Monroe Street. So I am Lynn Barry, and I am an employee of the John G. Shedd Institute for the Arts. I am standing before you to express my deep concern for the safety of citizens that use the alleyway behind the John G. Shedd Institute for the Arts at 868 High Street in Eugene. Due to the blind corners at the exit onto High Street on the east end and at the north and south alley on the west end, I have witnessed as well as personally been involved with very close encounters with almost being hit by a car while walking or in a vehicle. On many occasions, I have witnessed cars speeding through the alleyway, not even stopping to check if there is a person walking on the sidewalk or driving in their vehicle. In the summer of 2018, I witnessed a pedestrian on their bike get hit by a car that was driving through the alleyway. Luckily, the bicyclist was not seriously injured, but we should not have to wait until someone is seriously hurt and then make the corrections that are needed. The Shed is a performance venue, a music school, and a community events venue. We have over 38,000 active regional households and businesses, with an additional 1,850 active households out of state. In other words, a lot of people come to the Shed. Yes, a lot of people come to the Shed, ranging from little toddlers to senior citizens. The future plans that the Shed has in place would eliminate some of the current hazards and prevent citizens from being severely injured. Whether you are a patron of the Shed, walking on the sidewalk, or in the parking lot, the safety issue that is currently present should no longer be an issue. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker, Jonathan Brandt. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we have two more. Jonathan Brandt, followed by Karen Warren.
Good evening. Again, my name is Jonathan Brandt, 57 West 20th here in Eugene, and I'm a member of the Shed Board of Directors. Tonight, I want to encourage you to vote in favor of the alley vacation that has been proposed for the Shed. During the 2 years that I've been on the board, I've developed a strong appreciation and admiration for the many positive ways that this organization impacts our community. Due to their efforts, each week hundreds of music students of all ages sharpen their skills and experience the joy of music. Each year, the area is treated to dozens of performances, most of which are unlikely to be seen in any other Eugene venues. Allowing the alley vacation is a pivotal step in enabling the Shed's vital role in the community to prosper well into the future. It would greatly enhance the safety of students and patrons who must cross the alley daily by eliminating cars that frequently and hazardously use the alley as a shortcut. It would also provide ADA-approved access to all areas of the building via an exterior elevator located in the alley right-of-way, and facilitate future growth options for the Shed. Thank you for your consideration and your service.
Thank you. And our final speaker, Karen Warren.
Mayor Vinas, I'm glad to be here. My name is Karen Warren. I, too, am on the board of the Shed, and I have been since 2002, I think. And I use that alley, the parking lot, virtually daily. And it can be scary. And my colleagues have spoken very correctly about the things that go on there that are bad. I saw someone come around the corner and accelerate at a frightening rate, right as some kids were crossing with their, and he didn't see them coming. So that's the kind of thing that happens all the time. And I've been frightened too myself. The Shed is a very important part of downtown Eugene, and I want it to be safe for everybody. And because everybody has said everything I was going to say, I will stop now. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help and attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any staff responses to any comments?
We don't. As I mentioned, we'd be bringing him back for July 8th unless you choose to act tonight, which I think is always within your purview, but we're intending to bring it back on July 8th.
Okay. Are there any questions that councilors wish to ask? Councilor Zelenka?
Yeah, I appreciate there's no public infrastructure in the alley. Can you, Mr. City Manager, for the record, tell us how the assessment was arrived at and whether or not the 3750 is comparable to like properties?
Hi, I'm Dan Halverson. I'm the new senior planner here. I was working on the shed to this. It was evaluated the same way the last few vacations have happened, and that $3,750 is what they've come up with. Plus, they added on the cost of building the alley. Of course, that was in 1912 or something, so it wasn't that much money.
Yeah, I love that. We know the price in 1912 of $460.79.
They knew exactly.
You could have rounded up to $461 or $467. Great, thank you for that. Another question is on High Street, is it the plan to remove the curb cut so that people coming north on High Street can't be tempted to turn into that?
That's correct, yeah. The curb cut would come out. Obviously, if it's not open anymore, they would take that off of High Street.
Okay. While we're talking about alleys, I have a slightly different question, not totally related to this, but there's a lot of alleys in my ward, and some of them are bollarded or in the middle of them, so they're not thoroughfares. And if somebody can get back to me about why that occurs and how that can occur, that's come up a couple of times.
We can ask Public Works to respond back to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Ask if anyone objects.
I got Counselor Clark and then Counselor Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that the county is well apprised of of how this process works, and had they interest, concern, or otherwise, they'd be here tonight to say so. But I just want to double check, so we're completely thorough, that you have or have not had any kind of conversation with county government with their intentions to do work across the street, that this in any way is any concern to them.
I hadn't had anything from them, and we did contact them.
Okay, just want to make sure, get that on the record. Thank you.
Counselor Evans.
I don't see any reason why we can't, take action tonight. We've got other things that are coming up, and, I haven't had a chance to completely go through to my calendar on the 8th, but I don't see where this is a major controversy, and if it's okay with the body, I'd like to propose a motion to move this ordinance.
So,
It's
I'm sorry, before you do that, you're going to want to close the hearing and close the record.
Right.
And then you can put the motion on the table to
Okay.
approve the ordinance and just read the title straight off the top of your AIS.
And I'll second that at the appropriate time.
But before we get to that, Counselor Clark wanted to speak.
I wanted to make that motion, but Counselor Evans beat me to it, so.
All right. And I realize I actually skipped over just a piece of my script, which was the applicant may have their opportunity to provide final rebuttal. Since no one objected to this, I'm assuming you're not bemoaning that loss of opportunity. Okay. All right. At this time, I will close the public hearing and the public record. And so now, Counselor Evans.
Let me get my AIS right here. Oh, you got it before okay.
Move to approve the app.
I move an ordinance vacating East 8th Alley located between High Street and High Alley.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. None opposed. It passes. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And we are adjourned.